So I was digging around in the back of my makeup drawer and I found this. This little lipstick here sent me down a rabbit hole, a very matte, very contoured rabbit hole. That's right, we're going back to 2016, the year of the block brow, cut glitter creases, and the uber matte lip. I'm about to recreate the exact makeup I used to wear, and I'm pretty sure I am going to regret this. Let's find out if some trends are really better left in the past. Isn't it funny looking back? One minute you're painstakingly carving out your brows with concealer, thinking you're the definition of glamour. The next, you see an old photo of yourself and you think, who let me walk out of the house like that? Well, welcome to 2016. It was a time of more is more. More foundation, more contour, more highlight, just more of everything. It was the peak of Instagram face, that full glam sculpted look that was made to look absolutely perfect on camera, maybe not in real life. And now a whole decade later, I'm seeing these trends pop back up on social media, and I just have to ask, why? Is it just nostalgia? Are people discovering these looks for the first time? I don't have the answers, but I do have a drawer full of old makeup and a morbid curiosity to see what happens when my 2016 self meets 2026. Today, we're turning back the clock. We're following the blueprint step by painful step. I have a feeling though that this is going to be both shocking and maybe hilarious, but honestly, truthfully, I'm a little scared, but let's go ahead and do it. Okay, first things first, the brows. In 2026, we're all about that fluffy, laminated, natural vibe. But in 2016, oh no, the goal was structure, definition, and a gradient effect that was anything but natural. We're talking about the iconic Instagram brow, and for that, you needed only one thing, pomade. I'm pulling out my trusty and okay, very dry, Anastasia Dip Brow Pomade. Getting this right was a true art form. You'd start with a super sharp angled brush and just carve out the bottom line of your brow with military precision. No stray hairs allowed. Then you do the same exact thing on the top, creating that perfect sharp arch and an even sharper tail. Next, you'd fill it all in. The trick was to keep the front part light and then to slowly build up the color so the tail was the darkest part. It created this ombre effect we all thought was so sophisticated. Looking at it now though, it's just intense. So drawn on, so architectural. But wait, we are not done. The most important step was carving them out. You'd grab a thick, full coverage concealer on a flat brush and trace around the entire brow to make the edges razor sharp. This created a halo effect that basically screamed, I just spent 20 minutes on my eyebrows. It's amazing how much this one step changes your face. It's pretty harsh, there's no fluff, no airiness, just lines. This is the first wave of regret I started feeling today, and we only just started. Okay, so on to the eyes, and you cannot talk about 2016 makeup without the cut crease. This was the look. Every influencer, every tutorial, the whole point was to create a super sharp, defined line in your socket to make your eyeshadow pop. First, you'd start with a heavy-duty eyeshadow primer that was absolutely mandatory. Then you'd pack on your transition shades. And in 2016, that meant warm tones, think oranges, terracottas, and deep reds. You'd blend like your life depended on it up into the crease and almost up into your brow bone. The blend was crucial, but it was about to get covered up anyway. Now for the main event, cutting that crease. You'd take the same heavy-duty concealer from the brows, load it up on a flat brush, and literally paint a brand new sharp crease right above your natural one. This took a steady hand and a ridiculous amount of patience. You wanted a perfect clean arch. Right now, the feeling of that thick concealer on my eyelid is already giving me anxiety about creasing, which was a huge problem even back then. Once the concealer was set, you'd pack a shimmery glitter right on top. Golds and champagnes were huge. The contrast between the bright lid and the dark smoky crease was what made it look so dramatic. And of course, no 2016 look was complete without a massive winged liner and a pair of huge fluffy false lashes. The bigger, the better. My eyes already feel so heavy right here, and all of my features are fighting for the spotlight, which was really the theme of 2016. You didn't just have a bold eye or a bold lip, you had a bold everything. All right, my eyes and my brows are already feeling heavy, so now it's time for the face. And if you think we're using a dewy skin tint, you're in the wrong decade. In 2016, the base was a flawless, poreless, and completely matte canvas. That means one thing, a full coverage foundation. I'm slapping this one on with a damp beauty blender, the official tool of the era. We're not cutting any corners, we're covering every freckle. all redness, every last trace of what my real skin looks like. The goal wasn't to have great skin, it was to look like you had a new face entirely. It feels so thick and a little like my skin is about to suffocate right now under all this foundation. And now for the step that truly defined 2016, baking. For anyone who forgot, this is where you applied a ridiculous amount of loose powder over your concealer, under your eyes, on the nose, and on the chin. Then you just let it sit there and bake for like 10 minutes. The idea was that your body heat would set everything and make it last all day without creasing. The reality, it mostly just made you look dry and cakey. And as I sit here with piles of powder under my eyes, I literally feel mummified. It's such a weird tight feeling. I know when I dust this away, my skin is gonna feel so incredibly dry. Modern makeup is all about letting your skin breathe, and this right here is the exact opposite. Now, if you thought we were done with the heavy products, you were so wrong. It's time to add back all the dimension we just erased. It's time for the heavy contour. This wasn't the subtle creamy contour we do now. This was structural engineering for your face. We take a dark contour stick and draw a harsh line from the top of the ear toward the mouth to chisel out those cheekbones. Then more lines along the jaw and 2 parallel lines right down the sides of the nose to make it look snatched. We'd even contour the forehead. There was zero subtleness. You wanted to see all the shadows. You would blend it out, but not too much. You had to keep the definition. Then you'd go over all of it with a powder contour to make it even more intense. The result is quite stark. In light of 2026 makeup, it doesn't look sculpted, it looks muddy. Now to offset the contour, you need a heavy dose of the 2016 must-have highlighter. And yes, we must be highlighted to the gods for that perfect 2016 look. Now we're almost done and I am genuinely nervous to see the final look. While I prepare myself, I have to ask you, what was your most regretted 2016 makeup trend? Was it the block brows, the concealer lips, extreme contour and highlight? Let me know down below in the comments. I really need to know I'm not the only one with serious makeup regrets. Now, no 2016 makeup look is truly finished without the lip. And there was only one choice, a super pigmented, bone dry, matte liquid lipstick. Gloss had left the building. It was all about a formula that felt like velvet and wouldn't move for hours. First, you put a concealer over your lips to blank out your natural color. This made the lipstick color pop even more. Then came the lip liner. You had to meticulously line your lips, usually overdrawing them to get a fuller looking pout. Finally, you'd want to fill it all in with a liquid lipstick. These formulas back then were so drying. As I'm putting this on, I can feel it sucking all the moisture out of my lips. It just feels tight and very uncomfortable. The color is a classic dusty rose that was everywhere, but the texture is what's killing me right now. It highlights every single line. It's just so flat and contributes to that feeling that the whole look is way too loud. Every feature is turned up for maximum volume. Okay, so it's done. Time for the final reveal. Wow, just wow. I sort of have instant regret when I looked in the mirror and I seriously did not recognize myself. It looks like I'm wearing a mask. Every single feature is screaming for attention. Those intense eyes, the blinding highlight, the harsh contour, and these dry matte lips. It's a battle of the features and honestly, nobody's winning. The wildest part is I remember feeling so confident wearing this makeup. I thought I looked powerful and super glamorous. And for 2016, I guess I did. But seeing it now through 2026 eyes, where we love dewy skin and texture and a more balanced approach, this 2016 makeup just looks all kinds of wrong. It feels heavy, it looks aging, and it's so uncomfortable on my skin. It just proves how much makeup trends are a product of their time. This look isn't bad because the products are bad, it's because the entire philosophy was about competition between your features. I must say though, I really did enjoy putting the glitter on my eyes. That was so much fun, and I definitely think I'm going to start doing that more again. And I also love playing with the bright colored eyeshadows, which was so much fun. And this brow pomade is definitely a game changer, and I think I'm definitely going to be bringing that back into my daily brow routine because it actually does give the look of a full brow. and it really made my brows budget proof. So I'm definitely going to be bringing brow pomade back into my 2026 makeup routine too. I love that point that I read made by creative consultant Joel Marlarson. He noted that Gen Z is particularly fond of reminiscing about iconic moments like the King Kylie era, and he said it's not just about pretending to relive your Starbucks run from 9 years ago. He says for Gen Z, 2016 meant being carefree with less performative social content and not being so chronically online. It was a time defined by authenticity, creativity, and truly not caring what others thought. And I have to say, I do agree with him 100% there, but what do you think? Let me know. All in all, recreating 2016 makeup has been a trip. It was fun to play with these old techniques, but it's also given me a huge appreciation for how much makeup has evolved. We've learned to enhance our features instead of completely redrawing them. So would I recommend bringing back the 2016 full face? For a party, maybe, but for every day, absolutely not. Some trends really need to stay in the past, and for me, this is one of them. So thank you so much for joining me on this trip down memory lane today. I hope you had fun watching me suffer through this. It was an experience, that's for sure. If you've enjoyed this video and want to see more, please give me a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Let me know in the comments below what other trends I should try to recreate next. Maybe 2000s frosty eyeshadow. Let me know what you think. I can't wait to hear your thoughts. So till next time, stay glowing, beauties.